A person kneels beside a river thousands of years ago. The water is brown. The stones are slick. Somewhere behind them, a fire is burning down. Then the surface goes still. A face appears. It blinks when they blink. It opens its mouth when they breathe. Then a ripple cuts through it and the face breaks apart. For most animals, that would be nothing. Water moving, light changing, but for a human mind, it could become something dangerous. Is that me? When we ask whether ancient humans knew they were human, the question sounds almost too simple. Of course they knew. They had hands, hunger, pain, children, fear, memory. They woke up inside their own bodies every day. But having a human body is not the same as having a human idea of yourself. A body feels hunger. A body bleeds. A body runs from danger. But a person can wonder what others see when they look back. Ancient humans probably did not think of themselves as Homo sapiens. They did not place themselves on a family tree beside Neanderthals, Denisovans, apes, and extinct relatives. That kind of thinking belongs to a much later world. Museums, textbooks, DNA labs, scientists arguing over bones. But that does not mean ancient humans had no sense of who they were. The harder question is not whether they felt alive. It is whether they felt separate, different from the deer they hunted, different from the storms they feared, different from the stones they shaped, and maybe, most dangerously, different from the strange people beyond the next valley. The first layer was the body. Long before philosophy, writing, cities, or science, ancient humans had to understand themselves as physical beings. A hunter had to know where his hand ended and the spear began. A child had to learn that her shadow followed her because it belonged to her. A person crossing rocks had to judge the length of an arm, the weight of a body, the danger of a fall. That kind of awareness is not uniquely human. A cat knows how wide its body is when it slips through a gap. An elephant can use its trunk with astonishing precision. Apes understand relationships, intentions, and sometimes even reflections. So if we stop there, ancient humans are not mysterious. They knew they existed. They knew pain happened to them. Hunger happened to them. Fear moved inside their own bodies. But humans do something strange with those feelings. They turn them into stories. Picture a small group moving through a cold landscape. They know the paths. They know the animals. They know which plants can be eaten and which ones can kill. They know who shares food, who lies, who panics, who is brave, who should not be trusted near a fire. In a world like that, identity is not abstract. You are not a human in the modern sense. You are someone's child, someone's mate, someone's rival, someone the group remembers. That may have been the first human mirror, not water, other people. A smile could tell you that you belonged. A warning could tell you that you had crossed a line. A punishment could teach you that your actions lived inside other minds. And once a creature can feel belonging, it can also feel shame. Shame is a strange kind of mirror. It means your mind has learned to leave your own skull for a moment and stand inside someone else's gaze. A person who hides after stealing food is doing more than avoiding punishment. They may be imagining what others think of them. A child who learns not to laugh at the wrong moment is not just obeying. They are learning that the group has invisible rules. And those invisible rules may be one of the earliest signs of human identity. Not written laws, not moral philosophy, just the quiet pressure of living among minds that notice you. At some point, ancient humans crossed into that world. A world where actions had meaning beyond survival. A world where a body was not just a body. It was a person. We can see hints of this in the things they left behind. Tools are one clue. A stone tool is not just a sharp rock. It is a plan, held in the hand. To make one, you have to imagine a shape before it exists. You have to strike the stone now for a result that comes later. One bad hit and the edge breaks wrong. One good hit and the stone becomes something else. A cutter, a scraper, a weapon. A tool says, I can change the future, But tools alone do not answer the question. A spear can be practical. A blade can be practical. A scraper can be practical. They can all exist because a body needs food, warmth, and protection. Then come objects that are harder to explain. Pigments, ornaments, engravings. Shells carried from far away. Marks placed where they did not need to be. Bodies treated in ways that suggest they were not simply abandoned. None of this gives us a direct window into ancient thought. We cannot dig up a feeling. We cannot carbon date a belief. But we can say this: at some point, ancient humans began behaving as if the world was full of meanings. Red pigment could be more than color. A burial could be more than disposal. A mark on stone could hold memory outside the body. And a necklace does something a spear does not. A spear changes what a body can kill. A necklace changes what a body says. The moment you decorate a body, you turn it into a message. You are saying, in some way, this is not just flesh, this is someone. Maybe ancient humans did not know they were human in the scientific sense, but they may have known they were people. And people is a much older idea than human. Almost every society we know has had some version of us. The people, the real people, the ones who speak correctly, the ones who bury the dead correctly, the ones who hunt correctly, the ones who remember the right stories. That word, us, can be beautiful. It can create care. It can make people share food, protect children, mourn the dead, and risk their lives for one another. But us has a shadow. Because once a group sees itself as the people, outsiders become harder to place. They may not be animals, but they may not be fully us either. This is where the question becomes uncomfortable. Ancient humans may have understood themselves as people long before they understood humanity as a shared category. They may have looked at another group, different language, different tools, different bodies, different customs, and not thought they are humans too. They may have thought they are others. And the ancient world was not empty. For a long time, Homo sapiens were not alone. Neanderthals lived across parts of Europe and Western Asia. Denisovans lived somewhere in the deep human story, mostly known to us through bones, teeth, and DNA. There may have been other human relatives too, moving through forests, mountains, and coastlines that no longer look the same. To us, they belong in the human family. To them, it may not have been so clear. A Neanderthal face would not have looked like the face of a deer. It would have been familiar, but not identical. A strong body, a different shape, unknown sounds, different tools. Another way of moving through the same cold valleys. Imagine seeing them at a distance, not monsters, not animals, but not your people. Did Homo sapiens recognize them as persons? Did Neanderthals recognize Homo sapiens that way? We do not know. They may have feared each other, avoided each other, watched each other from across rivers, copied tools, shared landscapes, fought, mated, learned, disappeared from one another's stories. The most unexpected possibility is that being human did not begin as a universal idea. It may have begun small. My group, my fire, my dead, my children, my stories. Only much later would humans widen the circle enough to imagine a species. Then there was the problem no tool could fix. A body that looked familiar but would not wake up. A hand that had held food yesterday, now cold in the dirt. An animal can grieve. Many do. A dog may search for someone who never comes back. An elephant may touch the bones of another elephant. A dolphin may carry a dead calf near the surface. But humans appear to have pushed grief into symbol. A dead person was not only gone. They could be remembered, placed, covered, marked, visited, feared, honored. That means the self was no longer trapped inside the living body. A person could continue in memory, in a name, a scar, a tool, a gesture, a story told beside firelight. Maybe this is where humanity became visible to itself, not in a mirror, at a grave. A living person looking at a dead one and understanding, with terror, that will be me. From that thought comes something enormous: ritual, myth, ancestors, spirits, questions no blade can cut open. Where did they go? Why do we suffer? What remains after breath leaves the body? What watches us when we are alone? This may be why ancient art feels so powerful, even when we do not understand it. A handprint on a cave wall is simple, almost silent. Someone placed a palm against stone. Someone blew pigment around the fingers. Someone stepped back and saw the outline remain after the body moved away. That mark does not tell us everything. It does not tell us the person's name. It does not tell us their language. It does not tell us whether they were afraid, proud, grieving, or playing. But it tells us something. A body was here. A mind chose to leave a trace, and that trace lasted longer than breath, longer than skin, longer than memory inside one small group. In that sense, the handprint is more than art. It is a kind of answer, not, I am Homo sapiens, not, I belong to a species, something older, I was here, and I knew it. We should be careful, though. The ancient mind was not a primitive version of ours. Those people were not unfinished humans waiting to become modern. They were fully human beings living under different pressures with different knowledge, inside worlds we can barely reconstruct. They did not need science to feel wonder. They did not need writing to remember. They did not need the word species to know that a person was not the same as a deer, a storm, or a stone. So did ancient humans know they were human? Not the way we mean it. They did not know the Latin name. They did not know evolution. They did not know they were primates. They did not know their bones would one day sit behind glass in museums. But they knew a body could be more than a body. They knew a person could be missed. They knew the dead were not just objects. They knew a mark on stone could say, without words, that someone had stood there and chosen to be remembered. Maybe the first human mirror was not the river. Maybe it was another face looking back, recognizing something familiar, and deciding it mattered. Ancient humans may not have known they were human, but they knew someone was there, and someone else could know it too.